Okay guys, so today we're doing our first lesson looking at human evolution, okay? So first of all, when we're talking about human evolution, it perhaps makes sense to look at really what we're referring to by humans and where they fit in with other similar groups. So you're probably aware that we fall within mammals into the group that we call primates. So primates is an order in terms of taxonomy containing all monkeys and apes, including humans as part of that. And then within that, we've got a superfamily called hominoids, and that contains all of the apes, and that includes, your regular chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas. Also includes the gibbons as well, and it does include the humans. So that's the hominoids. The hominids is a subfamily of that, which features the great apes and humans, and it also includes the extinct human-like species as well. So the hominids group would include, obviously, all the great apes, chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, gorillas, and it includes humans, and then it includes our extinct ancestors too. So things that you may have heard me mention, like Homo erectus, Australopithecus afarensis, that would be included in that group as well. And then within that, we've got hominins as well, which is a tribe containing only the human-like species. So within that, we're the only living thing left within the hominins. But things like Australopithecus genus, which is now fully extinct species in the Homo genus, like Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthals, those would all be in hominins as well. So you've got it there if you want to pause it and make a note, but primates is the order containing all monkeys and apes. Hominoids is the apes. Hominids is just the great apes, and then the human-like species, and hominins is just the human-like species, including Homo sapiens, our species. And I've just got down here some general features of primates. So primates always have an opposable thumb. I did try to draw a thumb bone there, but it didn't go very well, so I just draw a big thumbs up. So by opposable, it means it enables us to grip in an opposite direction to the rest of our fingers, and that enables us to hold things very easily. So the fact that we've got an opposable thumb allows us to do that, and that's something shared by all primates. We all have flat nails, not claws. So what was the nail in the long ancestors of the primates is flattened. What was a claw is flattened into a nail. Colour vision, all primates have colour vision and tend to use vision more than any other sense. They have 3D stereoscopic vision. We've got flexible arms, so we're able to move our arms all the way behind our backs. So very, very flexible. If you think about any other mammal, your dogs, antelopes, cows, whatever, if you try to do that to them, you'd just break their legs really badly. So we're able to move our limbs behind our backs. We've got extremely flexible limbs. That's another key feature of primates. We've got a larger brain relative to our body size of most species. We tend to be social, so most primates are social. They live in groups. There's one or two exceptions. Orangutans, for example, are often solitary, especially the male ones. They tend to be quite solitary, but typically speaking, most primates, obviously including humans, are social. And then finally, a long gestation period. So that's when the embryo is developing in the womb. And the gestation period of primates is really, really long. If you think about something like an elephant or a blue whale, their gestation period is only slightly longer than the human gestation period. I believe that elephants are 10 months and blue whales are about 14 months. And when you think about how much larger they are than a human baby, like per kilogram, I guess, humans have a really, really long gestation period. So that's a common feature of all primates. We all have a long gestation period relative to our body mass as well. Gives extra time for development. And then another thing linked in with that as well is an extended childhood, for want of a better word. So primates take a long time to develop. They tend to be some of the more intelligent species on Earth. So a lot of time to develop and learn during childhood. So what we're going to look at now is some important examples of hominins. Just a quick note, the fossil record in relation to hominins is sometimes Sorry, the lamp's not letting me see the writing very well. Let me start that again. The fossil record of hominins is sometimes a little bit unclear. So a lot of the fossils that we found are only known from very small samples. So by a small sample, I mean we may not have found a complete reconstruction of them through the fossil record. We may have just found a few fragments. And we can look at those fragments and see, okay, this is obviously, for example, the jawbone of a hominin. However, it doesn't fit in with the jawbone of any other hominins we know. Therefore, it must be another species, but we don't actually know what that species really would have looked like. We've only got a rough idea from a small amount of fossil evidence. So, yeah, a lot of the stuff in relation to hominins is a little bit unclear. But anyway, so I've just got here some information on 3 really important ancestors. So first of all, we've got Australopithecus afarensis, which is our earliest known hominin ancestor. There's a very famous fossil of Australopithecus afarensis that was nicknamed Lucy. She's one of the most important fossils ever found. They called it Lucy because back when it was discovered in the 70s, I think, the archaeology team just kept on playing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. So the name just stuck, and it was a fossil of a female hominin, so they just called it Lucy. So Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, was a species that partially still lived in the trees, but also partially lived on the ground. So they were capable of living in trees and also capable of living on the ground, and they were capable of both walking on all fours and walking bipedally like us, so walking upright. They would have walked more on all fours than on 2 feet, but they were still capable of walking on 2 feet. And they would have done it more often than like a chimpanzee or a gorilla could. Again, chimpanzees and gorillas can walk on 2 feet, but they don't do it very often. Australopithecus afarensis would have been able to walk on 2 feet, but not as much as humans can, but more than a chimpanzee or a gorilla could. Homo habilis is another important one. Homo habilis was the first animal to be able to craft its own tools. So tool use in animals is quite common. Lots of animals are able to use tools in various ways. There are some really cool examples. For example, you may have heard of the New Caledonia crow, which is able to essentially use plant parts as a needle to reach inside of tree trunks and like skewer grubs and worms and maggots and stuff to eat. Dolphins are able to get sponges and place them over their snouts and then go diving to disturb things on the bottom of the sea without getting their snouts damaged. So tool use is common in lots and lots of animals. But what made Homo habilis different, and obviously Homo habilis' ancestors, including us, different as well, is actually being able to manufacture their own tools. So rather than just using things they found in the wild as a tool, they used things they found naturally and then modified them to make them tools properly. So Homo habilis is really interesting in relation to that. And then there's Homo erectus as well. And Homo erectus is the species we evolved from. We believe that it would have been the first species to have a primitive form of speech. Probably not as advanced as speech in Homo sapiens, but still something beyond basic animal communication and more like an actual speech and languages. And Homo erectus also lived for a very, very long time. It was around for approximately, I think, in the region of 1.8 million years. For comparison, Homo sapiens have been around about 200,000 years. So it lived for a very, very long time before going extinct compared to how long Homo sapiens have lived so far. So if you want to pause it and make some information on them, you can do that now. So next we're looking at is we're going to look at some key hominin features. First of all, not including parts of the skull. We'll look at it both in terms of some general hominin features and then some features very specific to the genus Homo. So hominins walk upright, which is an adaptation for a number of reasons. Being able to walk upright extends your range of vision. You can see further beyond long grass and things like that. It allows more efficient locomotion, so more efficient movement. Not necessarily faster, but more efficient. It enables you to move in a way that's more energy efficient. And also it enables tool use. I'm sure you can imagine that obviously if you're walking on all fours, using tools with your hands is going to be a lot more difficult than if you're walking on 2 feet. So that's another reason why hominins have adapted to walk upright. So to aid with walking upright, hominins have an enlarged heel bone, which aids with balance. So I've just drawn a very rough sketch there. That's meant to be a human foot on this side and then a chimp foot over here. And you can see the human heel, due to the larger heel bone, extends out like that. Another thing is hominins have a shorter and more bowl-shaped pelvis compared to apes. So I'm terrible at drawing, but these are meant to be pelvises. The chimp pelvis is very long, and the way that the legs were joined with that makes a lot more sense if something's walking on all fours. The human one is much shorter and has got this more bowl shape to enable walking upright, enables it to be a bit sturdier and stronger. Another key difference, and this is specific to the genus Homo. So the previous things, so the enlarged heel bone and the shorter bowl-shaped pelvis, that's hominins compared to the other apes. This now is the genus Homo compared to the other hominins. So the Homo genus has a narrower rib cage compared to other hominins. So that's my sketch of a Homo rib cage. That's my sketch of an Australopithecus rib cage. And as you can see, the Homo one is much narrower. That's believed to be an adaptation reflecting the more carnivorous diet of the genus Homo. The more carnivorous diet is actually more efficient, and it means that they don't need the extra space inside the body that the Australopithecus did. And then finally, I've got that the Homo femur, so the thigh bone, angles inwards, which allows our knees to support our body weight more fully. So again, very rough sketch, but a human one, the thigh bone is angling inwards like that. Whereas, for example, in the chimp, it would have been much more upright. Something like an Australopithecus would be probably about halfway between that. So not angling inwards like the human one, but not upright like the chimp one as well. That reflects the fact that they did sometimes walk on all fours. And I do have another video that I want you to watch, which really goes into detail of the skulls and differences in the skulls of the amongst the hominins. But I just want to overview them here really, really quickly. And like I say, there's a much longer video for you to have a look at this. So one thing is that the genus Homo has a very central foramen magnum. The foramen magnum is where your spine and your brain meet. So in the genus Homo, it's very, very central inside your skull. In Australopithecus, it's a bit further back, and in chimpanzees, it's really far back. Just imagine that's to do with walking upright. I'll talk about it more in the other video. Homo has a decreased jaw and teeth size, which reflects more meat, which is less hard on the jaw. Reflects more tool use and also the use of fire, which can reduce the hardness of things as well. We've got reduced zygomatic arches, which are your cheekbones for the same reasons, and then a larger cranium for a larger brain. So please do watch that video as well, where I've got the skulls. I shot it a bit before I shot this one, so I've still got my hair in that video. And yeah, thank you for watching. There's a lot of information in this lesson, so really take your time, go back over things that you need to, and I'll make sure I put the scans of this onto Google Classroom. Okay, thank you.